What's up, YouTube? Silver Dragons here. Happy New Year. And today we're going to be taking a look at how silver did in 2021 and making some predictions as to where we think silver will go in 2022. So let's do it. Thank you so much for watching my video. I do sincerely appreciate it. If you want to learn more about investing in precious metals, or if you just want to watch awesome videos about gold and silver, make sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Okay, so how has silver done over the last year? Where is it going from here? We're going to take a look at this Kitco news article and then stick around for the end of the video because, of course, I'll be giving my own personal predictions for 2022. This article came out a little over a week ago, and I've been saving it for the start of the year. There's so much good information in this one. It starts off by saying silver price 2022. Here's how silver can outperform gold as it plays catch up next year. And then Kitco's saying, hey, stay tuned, keep reading our articles. Obviously, Kitco sells precious metals. They want to keep you locked. A lot of these articles can be seen as sort of bullish, but they do talk about some of the downsides as well, so I like that. But take this for what it is. I mean, I like reading Kitco news. I read them pretty much every day, but you have to realize where they're coming from. So anyway, it says there have been many questions surrounding gold and silver's performance in 2021, but analysts remain optimistic, stating that silver can outperform gold once the bull market kicks off in 2022. Both silver and gold had an uneventful year. Silver last traded down 13.5% year to date, and gold down 4.8%. So in 2021, both silver and gold they didn't really shine, and silver fell farther than gold, which is not surprising because silver is more volatile. So if gold goes down, silver sometimes also goes down, and it happened to go down quite a bit faster, which means that silver is a little bit better of a buy right now. And they actually do talk about the GSR. So it goes on to say silver had no life of its own this year, fluctuating merely in gold's slipstream. On balance, it suffered disproportionately high losses as compared with gold. As a result, the gold-silver ratio has climbed from a good 70 at the beginning of the year to over 80 now, said Commerce Bank analyst Daniel Bryceman. So the GSR has gone up, which again, this just means silver is a little bit better of a buy compared to gold. For next year, analysts are not discouraged, noting that the bearish sentiment around precious metals is on the cusp of shifting, with the technical charts looking healthy and silver trading cheaply relative to gold. Silver is a hybrid. It's a precious metal with a role as an inflation hedge, but it's also an industrial metal that has a lot of different applications, said Ned Davis Research Chief Global Investment Strategist Tim Hayes. We'll see that maintained. Silver made a multi-year low in 2020, and as much as it's been weak recently, it's still above the 2014 and 2019 lows, and it's making higher lows. It is not unusual for silver to get dragged around by gold, said Perth Mint manager of listed products and investment research Jordan Elizio. I'm not sure how to say that one. Let's see. It goes on to say, silver price collapsed in Q1 2020. We saw effectively a once-in-a-century event where the gold-silver ratio went to over 110. Since then, silver has roared in the last 9 months of 2020. It was natural that if gold was going to pull back, silver was going to have a breather and a bit of a correction as well. Following a correction in 2021, the technical outlook looks promising for silver as investors see it as a bargain buy relative to gold. The gold-silver ratio now is a lot healthier. It's basically 80-1. It's nowhere near the extreme that we saw back in March 2020. Anytime the ratio has been 80-1, silver began to look relatively cheap. If you go all the way back to the middle of the 1970s, there's only been a couple of times where silver has been cheaper relative to gold than the roughly 80-1 ratio. Now, I actually really do agree with what they're saying here. I mean, if the gold to silver ratio is 80-1 or higher, then you should really be focusing on stacking more silver than gold. So if you're a stacker, if you're an investor, you should be looking at silver at that point. So they go on to talk about the key macro drivers for 2022. It says, it will be up to several drivers to trigger a rally in 2022, and silver is paying close attention to the inflation hedge narrative and the industrial outlook. Analysts said investors would need to see a reversal of some of the main headwinds holding gold and silver back this year, including the US dollar, real yields, strong economic growth, and the idea that inflation is transitory. Many thought 2021 would have been the year of silver and gold because of the hot inflation fears. Price pressures reached the highest level since 1982 in the US in November, with the annual CPI rising to 6.8%. But the picture is a lot more complicated, with the inflation driver likely to kick off in only next year. And so they're talking about this year. They're saying 2022, that's when we're really going to see things get kicked off. And they could be right. We've seen more money pour into equity strategies this year than pretty much the last 20 years combined. That's held gold and silver back. The US dollar index is up around 8% this year, and that is a natural headwind. Real yields also rose this year. Economic growth beat expectations, and the market was convinced that inflation was transitory only until 2 months ago. Even now, the market is expecting inflation to return closer to 3% within the next 5 years. The market is currently pricing a fairly aggressive Fed taper, 3 rate hikes in 2022, and inflation closer to 2.5% rather than 6.5% in 5 years from now. This would be really surprising if they can get inflation down to 2.5%. I mean, I can't see it at this moment in time, but they've got a lot of, tricks up their sleeve, so we will see what happens. The article goes on to say, but gold has a history of performing well once the Fed commences a rate hike cycle and silver follows gold. It wouldn't surprise me if we see gold bottomed and start to move higher once the Fed completes its taper faster than expected and moves to raise rates. Also, given how equity markets are priced, the next decade might not be as lucrative for the traditional 60-40 portfolio allocation. It's almost inconceivable.
He didn't fall? Inconceivable. You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
That those strategies will continue to return what they have over the last 10 years. Even investment managers that run strategies like that are out there telling their clients that the next decade is probably not going to be so rewarding for mainstream financial assets. Now, there is a lot packed into this article, and if you want to read the whole thing, I'll put a link down below in the description, but I do want to jump over to price forecasts. So they say analysts' price forecasts for next year vary between 24 an ounce and above 30 an ounce depending on the outlook. So we got this Commerce Bank analyst. They see silver reaching 26 an ounce in 2022. Let's see, this person here, Hines, more bullish on silver than gold, but they think it's going to end the year at 22 an ounce, peaking at 24 an ounce in mid-2022. So they actually think silver is going to go down a little bit next year. And it wouldn't be a Kitco news article if they didn't have one of these predictions in here. So we got long-term Gehring does not rule out silver climbing to over 500 this decade. Silver plays massive catch-up rally to gold, and if gold gets to 10,000 in this decade and the gold-silver ratio gets down to 20-1, that's $500 silver. It will be the decade of shortages, and everyone's going to get poorer except for the people that own physical gold and silver. That is quite the prediction right there. So now I'll talk about what I think is going to happen. As always, I don't have a crystal ball. I can't perfectly predict the future, but I've been stacking for quite a few years. I'm actually going into my 5th year of stacking physical silver. I'm very excited for it. I actually just recently bought some more silver. But in regard to what's going to happen to the price of silver in 2022. I will say this. I would be surprised to see silver go below 20 an ounce. I really don't think we're ever going to see silver go below 20 an ounce again. I mean, really the only way I could see that happening is if there is some sort of a liquidity crisis, right? Stock market crash, people, they need cash, so they sell silver, sell gold, and you get that spot price plunge. But I do think that if that happened, the price of physical silver would actually go up. I think premiums would skyrocket. So I really cannot see silver going down below 20. Could it dwindle and get back down into the teens? I suppose it is possible, but I just don't think it's going to happen. That being said, what is the top for silver, right? How high can silver go? Over the last 5 years, silver has not been able to reach $30 an ounce. So I think that's kind of the top. But is there an event that could cause silver to go over 30 in 2022? Absolutely. I think we would need to see some sort of a crisis, whether that be a stock market crash or something that's unforeseen at this point in time, for people to flood to the safe haven assets, silver and gold, and we could really see them go much higher at that point. But I think it's really hard to make these year-over-year price predictions. I think it's easier to look at silver and gold as a long-term play. I mean, they're not a get-rich-quick scheme, especially if you're buying physical. You should be looking at stacking for the long haul, which is what I am doing. So I guess if you want a number for 2022, where do I think silver is going to go? I would just say probably around $25 an ounce. Okay, that is my guess. Of course, I could be wrong. It'll be kind of interesting to see how the year pans out. And maybe we can look back at this video at the end of the year and see how terrible my guess was. Again, it's just a guess. So regardless if it goes up or down, I'm still going to be buying more. I'm going to be stacking more. I'm excited to stack more. I actually hope it does go down so I can stack at a cheaper price. But anyway, I do want to say a massive thank you so much for watching my video. If you have any questions, feel free to put those down below in the comment section. And I'll see you all in the next one. Silver Dragons, out.